This is Beyond a Reasonable Doubt with your hosts, Mark Garrigus and Gary Smith.
Well, welcome. Gary, did you go to the Giada pop-up this week?
I did. I was joined by co-host of the Brian and Gina show, Brian Bishop, and his lovely wife, Christy, and we had a great time. It was an amazing event. It was sold out. I mean, I've never seen Engine Co. that packed.
Well, that's what rumor has it. And how was the food?
The food was out of this world. I was lucky enough to get to sample some of the food that came out before the guest even arrived. And she was doing a lemon pizza, which if you had said that sentence to me, I would have said why, but it was delightful. It was so good. And I probably 6 or 7 slices over the course of the evening of that. The pasta was out of this world. She did 2 different kinds of pastas and big cheese wheels. There was a tomahawk ribeye that was also excellent. I mean, I was a member of the Clean Plate Club, that's for sure.
Oh, wow. Did Brian partake?
Brian did. Brian also had a clean plate at the end of the night. He had all of the different offerings. I think he might have left one piece of asparagus on his plate, but he was loading up and eating everything in sight and having a very, very good time. And they even brought a cookbook from Giada that they had at their home get signed. And it was a grand event. Everyone was, I think, very happy.
Well, except me, who wasn't there. So
you were missed.
I'm going to live vicariously through you. So
sure.
Have a couple of pieces. Lemon pizza is interesting. I love lemon meringue pie, but lemon pizza I've never even thought of.
Neither have I. I'd never heard of it before. And when it was first offered to me, I kind of looked at it sideways, but I decided, that I'm not the celebrity chef here, so I'll give it a chance. And boy, I did not say no to any piece that was offered to me thereafter. It was absolutely delightful.
Wow, I love it. Do we have a winner this year for comments? I'm going to or this week. Who you picking this week?
Mark, once again, I'm not in the comments. I stay far away from that place. But I will say that one of our previous winners, Mark Nilsson, who commented a few weeks ago with the Garrigos and Garrigos comment, was delighted to connect with me and give me his address. And I've been in touch with a few winners. So if you are a previous winner, please do get in touch with me on Twitter or any other way that you can think of. And we are going to start shipping out the winner's swag this coming week. The only reason I'm not wearing it is I left it hooked on the back of my office door when I got dressed for the Giada dinner. So I was a little disappointed when I woke up this morning and discovered that it had been left at work and I couldn't represent. But in coming weeks, I'll be wearing it again.
Okay, I won't waste any time because we've got a lot of videos. I will send you the winner of the comment and you can splice it in or reach out direct.
Great, sounds good.
Comment of the week. Well, we've had 2 weeks in a row with Fani Willis, and I'll tell you, it's the criminal prosecution that never stops giving you more to talk about. I would venture to say that even people who would normally not be, voicing some concern, have been voicing a concern. You want to lead off with The View and Sonny, my friend Sonny, who I think has a couple of things to say. I'll comment on the other side.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's start it off here.
So could these allegations compromise the case against him? Is stepping down the best move here?
I don't think the allegations are going to compromise the case against him.
Against Trump.
He's clearly a criminal in my view. And prosecutors, we used to say prosecutors were like roaches. Like you get rid of 2 and then like 10 more show up. So even if she resigns and even if he resigns, they're just going to be 2 perhaps even better prosecutors to take their place. So
why
Why
does Trump keep saying she should resign?
Well, I think the issue is that there is an appearance of impropriety if you are sleeping as the district attorney, if you are, allegedly.
She doesn't admit to that.
She's not admitting to that. If you are sleeping with your special counsel that you appointed to a job and that person makes money doing that, right? So that's a problem.
So first of all, I have never heard the cockroaches one, but I'm going to use that from now on. Prosecutors are like cockroaches, and I'm going to quote former federal prosecutor, my friend Sonny. Second of all, as she says, if the allegations are true, and we'll get into that, we're going to find out soon enough, or we may have sworn testimony already that hasn't been revealed. But where I would disagree is that if that's the case, then they're going to make the argument. The defense is going to make the argument. They've already framed the argument that it was the indictment would be, to quote the Latin, void ab initio, which means if it goes to the heart of the case itself and all of these allegations turn out to be true, and it's certainly looking that way right now, there's going to be somebody who's going to have to take a hard look as to whether they can continue to prosecute this case.
Sure, it's fruit of a poison tree, for lack of a better term, right? I mean, everything that went into the indictment is tainted by the fact that this was hanging over it. So I as much as I know you love Sunny, and by all accounts, she's a great woman, I just don't know that I agree with her take that we can just swap out for new prosecutors and all of a sudden everything goes forward full steam ahead. That just doesn't seem likely to me.
Well, then it's compounded by the problem that they didn't go, or that they did go by way of a grand jury, and they went by way of a grand jury, at least in the kind of unique situation in Georgia, or at least unique in my experience, is that they don't make the charging decisions. So the charging decisions are made, and we now have, I think I'd sent something to you this week, they've opened up, or that Georgia Senate, their legislature, has now started an investigation that is leapfrogging on the audit committee of the county that is there, Fulton County. And there are provisions under the state law for impeachment of public prosecutors, and would not surprise me if we started going down that road.
Yeah, absolutely. The Republican-led House is looking into it, and they're none too pleased. So I think that's going to be something that's going to be quickly addressed by them, and they're going to be aggressive in trying to figure out all the details here. And as you said, we are sure to soon have some sworn testimony from the gentleman involved here, who Fani is alleged to have had a relationship with, because his divorce is quickly unfolding as well.
Right. And for those who haven't been in the weeds or are in the weeds, apparently the lawyer who brought this motion had heard the rumors, had looked at the divorce file, which was sealed and unsealed. There's now evidence that would appear that Mr. Wade, who is the special prosecutor who she hired, and I mentioned the audit, they're now looking at the public funds that went to Wade, and whether or not that was spent on Fani Willis. And there is at least some indication that if you follow the money trail, that it is. Then the divorce proceeding has been framed in such a way now that Nathan Wade, who is the special prosecutor, is in the crosshairs of his wife's lawyer. Right. And his deposition has already, it sounds like, been taken, probably under seal or under a protective order. However, there is a hearing set for this week, if I'm not mistaken. And let's see how the judge framed this. I've got a couple of clips, I think.
Yeah, let's.
And mind you, it's not Judge McAfee who's presiding over the criminal case. This is the family law court divorce judge who's doing the talking.
About Mr. Wade having been deposed yet or given sworn testimony yet, I'll note for the record we have a hearing set for 9 days away where sworn testimony can be presented. Without me knowing what Mr. Wade would say, it seems to me that Mr. Wade would be the first and best source of information on what his income has been and how he's been spending it, and that he would have firsthand knowledge of whether he's engaged in an extramarital affair. Only after I hear what Mr. Wade has to say do I think I can make a determination of whether the proposed opponent has any unique knowledge about these issues.
The proposed opponent being Fani Willis in this case.
Right. Basically, what's happening is that the Wade's estranged wife's lawyer has subpoenaed Fani Willis to testify. The judge has not ruled on that yet because under the doctrine of he needs to know if she has unique information. Do you have a clip of her lawyer arguing?
Yes, I do. Hold on one second here, and I can pull that up. It's right here.
Coordinates on a monthly basis at least 500 or more cases for indictment. So in this case, of course, the most recognizable issue is that she's dealing with, over in Fulton County, the election interference case involving former President Trump.
Well, I'll tell you what, Mr. Axson, let me interrupt you. Let me ask you just to focus on the part of the law that says the proposed opponent lacks unique personal knowledge of any matter that's relevant. Are you saying that your client lacks unique personal knowledge that could not be discovered some other way?
I would argue that she does, that the knowledge that she may or may not have is not unique. You've got two parties in the case, one who is alleged to have some extramarital affair with Ms. Willis. If that is the case, if that is true, he has that information.
It's very interesting. He started off by arguing that she's basically too busy.
Too busy, exactly.
Too busy to deal with this because she's busy prosecuting Trump, which the judge kind of cut him off and was very kind about it. And by the way, that same argument was made about President Clinton in the Paula Jones case, which I'm sitting here in Little Rock, Arkansas, which reminded me of that. In the same hotel where Paula Jones had made that allegation some 25 years ago or so. And the U.S. Supreme Court kind of dispensed with that civil case as they've ruled and has repeatedly been ruled is apparently not too busy for the President of the United States. So I'd hardly find that somebody's going to give much moment to an argument that the Fulton County prosecutor is too busy prosecuting Trump when the allegation, the gravamen of the allegation is that she's having a extramarital affair, as her own lawyer just mentioned. And her own lawyer is making the argument that Wade would have the better information as to the allegation that he's having a extramarital affair, which is interesting because the judge has basically adopted that right now, saying, I can't decide whether or not she has unique information until I hear either from him or see the transcript of the depo. That has been his ruling. It's an interesting conundrum for Wade, and one of the reasons why I think this prosecution ultimately, if not doomed, is going to have to be completely retooled, because you now have a situation where Fani Willis is saying, no, you don't need me. Or our lawyer just made the argument, you don't need me, go see Wade. Well, they're now at cross purposes, and they've got her lawyer is arguing, don't talk to me, talk to Wade. What if Wade says, I'm not going to answer these questions. I think whether or not I'm having an affair with Fani Willis is irrelevant to the allegations surrounding a divorce. Well, the judge seems to say, well, normally, if it's irreconcilable differences, you don't have to get into whether or not there is adultery. But the allegation here is that he's, as you played on that first clip, it's a math problem. I think the judge, you have a clip where he talks about that, and then it'll set up exactly why this is not going to be dispensed with.
This case is a divorce. And I understand there are children, but they have attained the age of majority. So we don't have to deal with child custody or visitation or child support or who's going to have the final say on medical or educational or religious issues. So that takes out a large portion of what people normally fight over in divorces. It seems to me, you can correct me if I'm wrong, that what we have here is a math problem. Equitable division of the marital assets after determining what they actually are, alimony, and attorney's fees. That's a mathematical equation that we need to solve. The solution will be a number or three numbers, but the numbers will be expressed in dollars and cents.
Hey everybody, what's up? It's Gina Grad. And when you're searching for the perfect piece of jewelry, it can be hard to find a brand you trust. Alex and Ani has been creating meaningful jewelry for over 20 years, designing pieces that connect you with all of life's important moments. With an emphasis on value, there is truly something for everyone. They've recently launched their everyday collection. I could not love it more. These pieces are made from stainless steel and an advanced water-resistant plating method that doesn't tarnish. It has the look of real gold. It's beautiful. I love these pieces because they feel so classic, but they have so much versatility. Alex and Ani are also featuring some gorgeous pieces that I have right here, like Black Lotus, this gorgeous Black Lotus charm necklace, and their Stay Wild pendant, and their Wings of Protection necklace that have a classic and vintage feel. See that? And of course, you can't forget their signature bangle bracelets, which I'm also wearing. And I have a lot of their stuff. I have the numerology bracelets. I have the hula dancer to commemorate a meaningful trip I took to Hawaii. From classic to bold statement pieces, Alex and Ani makes it easy to sprinkle your personality into each piece or make a truly meaningful gift for someone you care about. Meanwhile, you can take comfort in knowing that you're shopping with a socially conscious brand, as Alex and Ani has donated over $60 million to nonprofits worldwide, connecting fashion and philanthropy in an easy, fun, affordable way. Right now, Alex and Ani is offering our audience 20% off. So check their gorgeous collection out at alexandani.com and use the promo code MIDAS. That's MEIDAS at alexandani.com. Use that promo code at checkout for 20% off your order. Come and get something beautiful.
And that's a great way to define a non-custody divorce situation. You got how much is the alimony going to be, or spousal support, as they sometimes say? How are you going to divide up the assets? Number two, and how much you're going to pay the lawyers? And that's he also, I think, in another portion, there was about a 4 or 5 minute thing. We weren't going to play it all. But in another portion, he says that what he is spending, he being Wade, is spending is relevant to one of those three numbers. And so that is going to be a subject of either the hearing or the deposition, or a deposition of Fani Willis, too. How much are you spending? If they're using, they, meaning Nathaniel Wade, if he's using money that he's being paid as a special prosecutor on Fani Willis, over and apart from what the county audit is going to say about that, that becomes relevant, is what this judge is saying, to the spending and how much Nathaniel Wade's soon-to-be ex-wife is entitled to.
Yeah, absolutely. That is how it's going to play out. And it looks like this judge is, pretty even keeled and level headed. You said he, as you pointed out, he was pretty fair and reasonable in cutting off Fani's attorney when she was trying to make that argument. And the I'm too busy to be deposed or to be involved in this argument is pretty tough when the allegations include both of these parties traveling and potentially spending taxpayer money on luxury vacations. So clearly they do have a little free time to do things outside of their respective jobs.
Yeah, that was started. But to Fani's lawyer's credit, the judge did adopt the gravamen of his argument, which is until you hear from Wade, you don't need to hear from Fani Willis. But that also brings up another conundrum. Is Wade going to admit or deny or say, I did spend it here, I didn't spend it there? If he equivocates at all, clearly Wade's ex-wife's lawyer's next move is to say, well, we've got some equivocation or we've got some issues here, well, or we've got evidence that we think supports the fact that we're not getting a completely truthful testimony. I mean, remember, as my father often liked to say about divorce cases, it's a battle of the perjuries. So you're going to have people making, no matter what Wade says, there's going to be an allegation that he's not being truthful.
Exactly. And, to your point very correctly, in a case like this, his ex-wife's or soon to be ex-wife's lawyer is going to speak up and say, well, regardless of whether what he said was truthful or not, there is unique information to be gained from Fani because we need to get her side of the story and then compare the two. And then we need to try to suss out what of that is the truth. So I find it hard to believe that once the Nathan Wade's testimony is given, that there is not an argument from his soon to be ex-wife's attorney to say that she will have unique information to provide.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what's going to happen. I think stay tuned. You'll see, and I will sometime between now and next week's episode on Sunday. You're going to have some rather explosive allegations. Would be my prediction.
Yeah, absolutely, and it'll be very interesting to see what it does to Trump's case in Georgia because it is not looking positive for the state in that particular case.
Yeah, look, if you're handicapping this, I don't think that this case gets tried before November. So,
well, there'll be a lot of fireworks between now and then. We'll be covering them. So stay tuned. Watch us on YouTube, youtube.com/Reasonable Doubt Podcast, and comment there to get some Reasonable Doubt swag. That's the only way to get it. We're not selling it, so it's only there for now. So thank you all for listening. Like, subscribe, comment, and like us on YouTube, youtube.com/Reasonable Doubt Podcast. Mark, enjoy Little Rock, and thank you for your time on this Sunday. As always, we appreciate it.
Thank you, Gary. Always good to see you. See if you can find some lemon pizza for me, okay?
Will do. Absolutely. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Reasonable Doubt. Subscribe on YouTube at youtube.com/Reasonable Doubt Podcast.